We've been here before, fighting the problems that fight back. But we can shift the status quo, because we see opportunities where others see obstacles. We're change makers and problem solvers, uniting over 1 million minds to address complex issues facing communities around the world, including yours. With passion and purpose, we've led the efforts to put an end to polio. Now eradication isn't just possible, it's plausible. Every day we're investing in a new generation of leaders so we can continue to provide access to clean water, tackle global health concerns, support education, and build the foundations of peace across borders. We're working together as partners and professionals while making friendships that last a lifetime. We're Rotary, and there's no limit to what we can do.
This meeting will come to order. Good afternoon and welcome everyone. I am Mary Jiang, President of the Oakland Rotary Club. Made up of nearly 270 people, the Rotary Club of Oakland is the third oldest club in the Rotary world and one of the Rotary's most diverse clubs. Our commitment to service above self is carried out through our service projects locally and around the world. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our 5,428th meeting in the California Ballroom and online. For over 114 years, we have welcomed Rotarians and guests to our club meetings. For those attending online, if you are visiting Rotarians or a guest of a Rotarian, please put your name in the chat box located at the center of the bottom of the screen so that we can recognize you later. If you have comments or questions to ask of the speaker, please text your question in the chat box. We recommend you view today's meeting using Speaker's View located in the upper right-hand center corner of the screen. Now for our thought for the day, I welcome President-elect nominee Shannon Hackley.
Thank you, President Mary. It's my pleasure to quote Ruth Bader Ginsburg, one of my favorites. Fight for things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join. And in the spirit of our speaker, I wanted to thank the men and women that passed Title IX.
Please join me in reciting the Rotary Vision Statement. Right. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Guests are welcome to visit our club. Well, members who are hosting a guest today, please stand. Please introduce yourself, your occupation, and then introduce your guests. Do we have any guests today? All right. Yes, we do. Lorna?
We ready? Good afternoon. Wow. Good afternoon, President Mary and fellow Rotarians. My name is Lorna Padilla Marcus, your local CPA. I'd like to introduce Elisa Padilla. And if you recognize the last name, yes, she is related. She's my wonderful daughter-in-law. So welcome.
I'd like to introduce, Seth Butner. I think everybody knows me. But I'd like to introduce for David Stein, guest of David Stein, Casey Farmer.
Okay. Do we have any visiting Rotarians today?
President Mary, I'm sorry to announce that we have no visiting Rotarians today.
Okay, all right, none online? Tom, do we have any? Okay. All right, so anyway, all guests are welcome to visit our club and, and check it out. So today I have the privilege of inducting our 15th new member of the Oakland Rotary Club. Will Pastor Billy Dixon Jr. and his sponsor Keith Uriarty join us at the lectern? Keith, will you introduce Billy with two interesting facts about him?
Thank you, President Mary, and at least two interesting facts. So today, my introduction to Pastor Dixon is not as my guest, but as our newest member of Oakland Rotary. Since service above self is what Pastor Dixon's life is about. He is currently the senior pastor at the At Word Christian Center. He is a leader in the Oakland ceasefire and is a retired law enforcement officer. In the business community in Oakland, Pastor Dixon is part of the family-owned business of Dixon's Fish and Chicken since 1968. Currently, he is a life insurance agent for FinFit Life and John Hancock. Fellow Rotarians, it is my pleasure to introduce our newest Oakland Rotary member, Pastor Billy Dixon.
All right. Billy, welcome to the Oakland Rotary Club. You're joining 270 Rotarians in our club and over 1.4 million Rotarians throughout the world. Billy, here's your red badge, which signifies your status as a new member. You will also receive in this goodie bag the 4-way test, which guides Rotarians in their daily lives as follows. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? So in this goodie bag, you also have a Rotary Made Easy handbook, which provides useful information about our club, and a roster with your 270 newest best friends. Here is in the Rotary pen, we also have a Rotary pen. Wear this proudly. With this pen, you can attend meetings any Rotary club around the world. Finally, you also have our centennial book written by Rotarian Linda Hamilton, covering 100. Covering 100 years of Rotary history. Your commitment as a new member is to attend meetings just like you want your congregation to do, right?
Right.
Okay. Participate in service activity just like you want your congregation to do. Practice service above self and contribute to the Rotary Foundation and Oakland Rotary Endowment, which you're going to hear more about today. It's my pleasure and privilege to induct you as the newest member of the Oakland Rotary Club. Let's give Billy another warm welcome. All right. Well, tomorrow is March 17th. What is that? All right. St. Patrick's Day. So Rotary Club's gonna celebrate today. So for many years, Ed Rourke, who passed away last October, had led us singing the song, When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. Today, I'd like to invite Ralph Scalar, who's gonna lead us singing along karaoke style.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I don't mean to be tough about this, but there's no singing off key, and you have to sing in my key. So I'm going to give you a start on this. When, no. Just that one word. When, you're all good. You ready? When Irish eyes are smiling, short it's like a morning spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. A little spirit, please. And Irish eyes are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away. Now hold on one second. We're going to let you get to the next part. I'll give you a chance to read the lyrics and figure that out. Ed Rourke, longtime member of this club, our happy Irishman, spent a lot of time at the bar in the back and making all of us happy. He used to sing this song with his wonderful Irish tenor voice every year. So for this next verse, let's try to channel our inner Ed Rourke. So, okay, here we go. You ready? For your smile is a part of the love in your heart, and it makes even sunshine more bright. Like the linnet's sweet song, crooning all the day long, comes your laughter and light. For the springtime of life is the sweetest of all. There is never a care or regret. And while springtime is ours, throughout all of our hours, let us smile each chance we get. Now, no. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring. Come on, do it. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish eyes are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they'll steal your heart. Big one. Yay! You guys are awesome.
Okay, was that a lot of fun? I think we need to rehearse it for next year better, right? Okay. All right, shh. Okay, continue with the Irish theme. Tricia Connor will entertain us with an Irish limerick.
All right, this is a G-rated limerick. Thank you very much. Okay, here we go. It's hard to follow that rendition of Irish Eyes. For members of Oakland Rotary number 3, the meetings on Thursday are free, but it goes without saying our community is fraying, so give all you can is my plea. Our leader is Mary Jeong. She makes each of us feel we belong. She wants to educate youth, but don't get long in the tooth or she'll cut us all off with her gong.
Very cute limerick. Tricia, save it for next year and change the name to Tom Limon. All right, Alita Scola, can you tell us about the mixer that's gonna be happening tonight?
All right, all you guys, where are we going tonight? Slancha. Yeah, Slancha. No? Yeah, Slancha. 131 Broadway. No, there's no address. Oh, yeah, no, there it is. 131 Broadway. To celebrate with Mary, who's taken us all out for drinks. Isn't that nice of her? Yay. Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much. That's it. So we'll see you later, huh? Be there or be square. That's it. My knee hurts.
How are you guys enjoying the Irish coffee prepared by Dudley? Yes, Dudley. Well, I said there's more Irish coffee and Irish whiskey tonight, so please come. So, Kevin Kelly, March is ORE campaign month. Can you tell us more about the Oakland Rotary Endowment fundraising campaign?
Happy Thursday, everybody. Continuing with, can you all hear me? Great. Continuing with the Irish theme here, Kevin Kelly, Irish Catholic from Boston. So we're right on point for theme here. You'll hear my name a couple times today. First hat I'm wearing is the ORE campaign. And then you'll hear a little bit later about the gala that I'm also on that committee, and Seth Butner and I are doing sponsorships for that. You'll hear about that later, but I want to talk about ORE campaign for the Oakland Rotary Endowment. So currently a matching campaign. The goal is to raise $100,000. I think Lorna sent an email out today that we're about like 56,000, close to 60,000. So we're on our way there. And it's important to know, what does this fund? 25% of the funds raised this year will help Tom Lamone next year as president to support the community services programs that's going on, right? So that's the youth service we do, getting books into kids' hands, housing insecurity, Enterprise Institute, which Harold will talk about. So it's incredibly important, that investment. And I think especially at this time when, the economy is a little bit, we don't know what's going on. So investing now will help out a year from now. Second thing about this Oakland Rotary campaign, Seth Butner has graciously set a $25,000 match that yes, round of applause. If we get 100% participation from Rotarians, we will reach that match. That is at $25 or more. And so really encouraging everybody, right? The table has been set, right? $25 is essentially a lunch in Oakland these days, right? So just sacrifice one lunch, make that investment, which is gonna help, it's gonna help the endowment, it's gonna help us continue to do the community service for folks in need, and continue just the strong reputation Rotary has in the community. And third, and I think most important, is like, where does the money go? Where does the investment go? And we have an organization in which Rotary's been supporting this year to support people in Ukraine get essential needs. Global Selectivia, am I saying that name right? All right, so I wanted to make sure I said it right. So you'll be hearing from them and about the investment we made to support people in the Ukraine. So pass it on.
All right, Garrett Riggs, could you tell us about the Carl Stuckey World Community Service Committee and one of our grant recipients who are here today?
I'm here on behalf of our community, Carl Stuckey World Community Service Committee. Barbara Berry, our chair, has asked me and given me the honor of highlighting one of our most important donations this year. And that is something that all of you have participated in through your donations to ORE, the Oakland Rotary Endowment. With those funds and our district funds, we give out donations to dozens of countries every year or two. Every month we handle probably $20,000 or $30,000 of decision-making about which projects in which countries are worthy of our support. And of course, this year and the past year, there has been a great difficulty. The war in Ukraine has brought great suffering and concern from Rotarians all over the world. So we are part of a great Rotarian program combining donations from 50 different countries, projects, 400 different projects in Ukraine. And our club was one of the early ones to set aside a large donation and a timely one. And it's being handled by Savinder Singh and the Selectiva Charities, which he may say a few words about. And our president has arranged here for delivery of that check. So let me have a few words from Savinder to explain his role and the selective charities and how they coordinate all these wonderful programs. Savinder?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are enjoying your lunch and coffee, Irish coffee. I'll get mine soon. So first of all, thank you for all the generosity with Rotary Oakland. We are really honored to get some fundraising from your club as well. We have been working with Rotaries in the Bay Area, Santa Clara and so on, to gather some funds and send those to Ukraine for various needs. This $5,500 buys, just to share with you all, 10 generators, and they are still in the winters, they still have winters going on, they're still suffering without the power. So this will buy them at least 10 generators, and each generator will power at least 3 to 4 homes. So that's a great effort. Thank you for all the generosity. We are partnered with Rotary of Santa Clara as well, and one of the Rotarian over there is Harbir Kaur Bhatia, if you all know her, or some of you may know her. She's currently in Ukraine, 4th visit since the war started. She's personally going there, making sure that the funds are getting allocated to the right people, and it's going in the right direction. All the hard work you're putting in, the efforts you're putting in, she's making sure the execution is happening correctly. So thank you for that as well to Harbir. We at Selectiva Charities are a fundraising platform, and we are helping Rotary and other organizations to raise some fund. We are actually a corporate company based out of San Jose, but then we have the whole 1-1-1 ideology where we donate 1% of time, revenue, and efforts, money into the nonprofit causes, and that's where we came with this Selectiva Charities platform. If you need more information, feel free to reach out. But thanks again for all the generosity. Thank you to you.
Okay, good. Rotary Club will take a picture as well. Yes.
Mary, wait, somebody turn off the projector.
I'll turn off the projector for a second.
Here we go.
Okay. Now, the oversized check looks impressive, but I think he'd rather have the real check.
Thank you. This is the most important. Thank you, President Mary.
Okay. All right. So anyway, to mention what the Carl Stuckey World Community Service does is obviously the funds raised by ORE funds their activity, and we're proud Oakland Rotary Club is unique in that we have global grants in 5 continents in the world. That's rarely achieved because, we have it in Asia, Africa, North America, South America, and Europe. And Europe usually don't qualify because they're well developed, but because of Ukraine, we are in Europe. So that's why we're rare in 5 continents. We may not get that again in a long time, but we should be proud of ourselves. All right, Carrie Hamill, could you tell us about our upcoming big event?
Can we get the slide for the Rotary Gala, please? I'll just start, I'm sure it's coming. Okay, do all the good that you can, by all the means that you can, in all the ways that you can, in all the places that you can, to all of the people that you can. We have a club and a room here filled with generosity. It is so nice to be among you. My mission today is to kick off the 2023 Gratitude Gala event. Can we have the first slide, please? And it's the theme this year, and then just keep rolling the slides. The theme this year is connect, create, and celebrate. The details of the May 4th event are on your tables, and the slides behind me give you a visual glimpse of some of the fun that we had at last year's gala. It was really a blast. We brought ourselves and we brought our friends, and we raised the roof with nice wine, music, dancing, and inspiration, in the words of some of the folks who we have given a hand to who wanted to say thank you. Over 200 people attended last year. We raised $125,000 for the Rotary Endowment for things that generous people like you care about. Books for Oakland kindergartners, scholarships for first-generation college attendees, classroom supplies for teachers, an infusion of dollars for programs that help feed the hungry and house the homeless. We have a 7-week window to accomplish our fundraising mission. It all begins with the sponsorship. Seth Butner and Kevin Kelly are heading our sponsorship team this year. I have been told that they want to speak with each and every Rotarian about a sponsorship. I have been told that they will call and they will email and they may show up on your doorstep. So if you would like to save them the trouble of the chase, take a look at the form on your table, add an extra 0 to your intention, or go to a higher level than last year, because our world is getting more and more expensive by the minute. And everything and everyone that we fund needs a raise. We also have a number of terrific and exciting auction items that we've secured for this year. We'll be talking about it more as the date comes closer. With your help, this year promises to be the best ever. Join us.
All right, thank you, Carrie, that was great. Tommy Edwards, you're on Zoom. Could you tell us about an exciting musical play event?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, President Mary and fellow Rotarians, and welcome, Pastor Dixon. I'm pleased to inform you we have tickets to the Tony Award-winning musical Fun Home. It's at the Berkeley Playhouse on College Avenue in Berkeley. Fun Home has won 6 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, Best Book of a Musical, and Best Original Score. Fun Home is a refreshingly honest, original musical about seeing your parents through grown-up eyes. The date is Saturday, April 1st at 1 p.m. We have 22 tickets remaining at $37, and tickets may be purchased on the club calendar. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Yes, today is the first day announcing this social event, and 3 tickets already been pre-sold. So we have 20, he said 22 left, so it's going like hotcakes. All right, Harold Lowe, could you please tell us about Enterprise Institute that's coming up?
Hello, everyone. I'm going to go off script for a second. I only have 3 minutes, and I can't do anything in 3 minutes. I'm going to do as best as I can. First of all, for those of you in Zoom TV land, if you see us with these, the reason why the meeting is extraordinarily lit today is because we're all drinking Irish coffee. So you check the table and see. So that's why we're so irreverent today. And finish off mine. And in the spirit of today, I'm an 8th generation Irishman. So suck that one out for the Black Irish today. So I'm waiting for the script to pop up, but it hasn't popped up yet. So I will say this, is that I joined Rotary because when I was 16 years old, I went to this camp. and Jack McAvoy was only 104 then, and it was really important for me. And I saw him and I said, I'm going to be one of those folks when I grow up, and so now I'm celebrating my 20th year. So I need you folks to start participating in this camp. So, what is the Enterprise Institute? It's our signature event. This is the event where we actually work with youth in Oakland. I'm not going to go through this. We've been around since 1982. We've helped over 2,000 youth who've come to this weekend experience to learn from you, to learn about leadership, to learn about what it is to create a business. Next slide, please. What are the benefits for you? What are the benefits for them? Let's talk about you because you're here about you today. The benefits for you is you get to know your Rotarians. Most of us come to meetings, we go home, we go to a committee meeting, but we don't get to know our Rotarians in a fundamentally different way. You stay with us for 65 hours, 72 hours, you're going to know us in a different way. It is extraordinary, and you will forever change your relationships with people here. Personal development, it's fun, it's meeting outside of Oakland, and it's realizing your value to Oakland when you get to talk to the youth. Next slide. Subcommittees, come to our meeting, you'll find out about what the subcommittees do. It's really imperative this year. This is the first time we've been in effect for 3 years. We have been shut down due to COVID for 3 years. We are back. This is an amazing time. Participate. Next slide. Okay, good guy. This is the slide that was changed by Jesse. So, the live scan criminal background check. Due to California with AB 506 and a lot of other things and working with youth, if you are not live scanned, you have to be live scanned and you have to go through the gauntlet in order to be able to work with youth. Many of you think that you are cleared. I looked at the list, probably half of the people who've gone through live scan in the past are not cleared. There's several aspects you have to do. You have to do an online testing, you have to do an application, you have to do fingerprinting, and you have to have references, and you have to have an interview. You can finish this in 3 weeks. This event's happening April 28th to April 30th. I need you to be done filling out the application by April 7th. Does that make sense? If you have any inkling, check with me, check with Jesse to see if you're correct on there. I will go through this again. It's got to be Rotary specific. If you're in other organizations, it doesn't count. The organization databases don't merge. They don't cross-check. And online training must be taken. It's only about half an hour, 45 minutes. Jesse will send you your unique link to that. You have to submit 3 personal references. Submit 1 for me. I'll vouch for all of you except for that guy in the back. 1 can be a Rotarian. Jesse or Steve Blair will need to do a short 10-question interview with you, and after these things are done, you are certified. Some of you think you're done. I'm looking at half a dozen of you, you are not. So double check with us on that. Next slide. We meet every other week now until the event. The next meeting's 3/28, 4/11, 4/25, 12 to 1 Zoom call. They're exciting, they're fun, they're fantastic. Join us. Next slide, last slide. That's 1985, and I'm over in the corner over there, and so is Jack. So I saved the picture. You guys have to show up, it's really incredible, and I thank you all for being here and lay off the Irish coffee.
Thank you. All right. At this time, I'd like to welcome David Stein to introduce our speaker.
President Mary, fellow Rotarians and guests, it's my honor to introduce our speaker today, Michelle Himmelberg. Michelle blazed an important trail for women who work in sports media. After earning a BA in journalism for USC, Michelle went on to work for newspapers in California and Florida, including the Sacramento Bee and the Orange County Register. As one of the first female reporters to cover the National Football League, she worked hard not only to do her job, but also to remove obstacles that discriminated against women, the biggest one being equal access to post-game interviews. Michelle is a co-founder of the Association for Women in Sports Media. AWSM supports the growth and advancement of women in sports media. She's been honored by AWSM with both its Pioneer Award and its Service Award. Michelle's covered major events and won many awards in journalism. Her favorite events, I'm told, are multiple Olympic Games coverage, so I'm very jealous of that. She has written about issues in sports, including Title IX. After being a sports journalist, she went on to a career in public relations and spent 14 happy years at the happiest place on earth, the Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. But she recently retired and now spends a lot of time here in Oakland with her daughter Casey, who you met earlier, and Casey's two wonderful children, Michelle's grandchildren. Please give a warm Oakland Rotary welcome to Michelle Himmelberg.
Hello. Well, thank you for that introduction. I'm really thrilled. I've heard so many wonderful things about Oakland Rotary, and I'm continuing today to see all the great work that you guys do in the community, and I commend you for celebrating Women's History Month. David, thank you for that career recap to start us off. So that takes us up to Michelle right now as the recent retiree. I want to take you back to Michelle way back when she was a 23-year-old who had just landed a huge new job. I'm going to tell you. I think we're going to go there. I am going to tell you about her story taking on the NFL. To do that, I need to take you back just a little bit to that time frame. It's really important to have some of this context. I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can because I know a lot of you probably have questions and I'd be happy to chat with you. But think this is 1979. Only 34 women were in the U.S. Congress. Today we have nearly 5 times that many. Very few women were in news broadcasting. Hiring managers told them their voices were too shrill. The women's movement had shaken things up a lot in the 1960s and the early 1970s. The Women's March in that photo was 1970, as it continues today. But by the time my battles began, just at the end of that decade, the feminist movement had become so distorted that the term feminists had become villains. That's how it was interpreted. We were the evil ones for asking for equal pay and equal status. Today you see, lots and lots of women covering sports on TV, but back when I started, I could count them on one hand. Plus, in 1979, let's all kind of remember, there was no internet. People engaged every single day in this thing called a newspaper. And it delivered yesterday's news. So now you know where I was starting. All right, let's dive into the battle stories. And remember, I was young and naive. Here's something, I always have to start with this because it's, I know this, but I have to help you with this clarity about locker rooms. They're messy, smelly, not fun places to be, but for some reason everybody kind of thinks it's a Chippendales experience. It's not. But for post-game interviews, it's a tradition that goes way back to Babe Ruth when they held post-game interviews in the locker room. For the athletes, it's a lot more convenient to get dressed, finish their interviews, and quickly get going. And all of that kind of worked while the field was almost entirely male. And then that began to change. But remember, as a reporter, I was a competitor too. You are out to tell the best story for your readers, and I'm competing against other news organizations. If I can't be in the locker room, I lose. I'm at a huge competitive disadvantage if I don't have access to the thoughts and reactions of the players in real time. That's a critical part of telling an accurate and interesting story. So by 1979, the 3 major sports leagues, they had found a way to accommodate, the few women who were covering the teams and also but some of the major college football teams. My experience had been covering USC football in LA for 2 years, including a run to the national championship, and all that was with equal access. So that's how I go into my first professional job covering the NFL, thinking that's the way it's going to be. But the NFL did not have a league-wide policy about equal access. I'm not even sure they had thought about it. So when I was assigned to cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, did we lose that slide? Whoops. Okay. All right. Oh, whoops, we're a little bit ahead there. Need to back up just a little bit, if we can. Okay. All right. If we can go back to, sorry, one more. Yeah, let's stay there for just a little bit. Whoops. I'll give you a cue, probably that would help too. Let's stay there for a minute, and then I'll give you a cue about when we go to the next one. I could have helped you with that. Thank you. Okay, so I am assigned to cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm working in Florida. The NFL does not have a league-wide policy. I was shocked to be barred from the locker room after the games. That put my newspaper in jeopardy of having poor coverage and not being competitive, and it put me at risk of losing my job. Fortunately, Gannett, which was my news organization, recognized this as a civil rights issue and prepared a lawsuit. Only after the Buccaneers learned that a lawsuit was in the works did they offer a solution. They barred all reporters from the locker room and built a wall between the main locker room and the entryway. This created a little small foyer where all these big giant football players, all these camera crews, and all the media would squeeze into to do, some productive interviews. Nobody liked it, but it was equal. The other reporters were pretty upset about this situation. They were experiencing what I had been experiencing. They were so upset that they really felt that they needed to find a name for this wall that was separating us. So it was dubbed the Himmelberg Wall. And the Himmelberg Wall stayed. It stayed the entire season until the final game of the season, when suddenly the team opened the locker room to everyone. I was puzzled, and then privately someone later told me that they had finally accepted the fact. I was a professional, and I was just there to do my job. So one thing I'm really proud of throughout that whole ordeal is, I was really focused on getting the job done. So I established a really good working relationship I had with the players. We had mutual respect with each other. It was the team management often and the other media who made it extremely difficult. And then team officials would they would sometimes point the finger at me also, even though it was their decision a lot of times about how things were done. Okay, we're still on slide 4. But we're still on slide 4. Yeah, we're staying there back to slide 4, if we can. There we go, right there. How are we doing on time? Okay, I'll try to speed things up a little bit. Well, let's imagine, I'll give you an example. Imagine you're showing up at your workplace one day, and on everyone's desk is a memo pointing out that their day is going to be a lot more challenging because, and I quote, because of one woman working here today. Guess who that was? It was pretty easy to identify me. And that happened in Minnesota. I had ensured equal access at Tampa Bay home games, but each team still made its own rules. The Vikings closed their locker room that day to everyone. They made it equal, but then they did a lousy job afterward making players available outside the locker room. Media were stranded, like I had been, and they were on deadline. This frustration led to 2 of them cornering me, hurling insults, and shouting, "You don't belong here." And then I had to keep going and finish my job that day. Okay, now we can go to slide 5. That was in Tampa Bay. 2 years later, I decided to move back to California, and I took a job covering the 49ers for the Bee. Again, 5 minutes? Oh, okay. I came in expecting that the locker room would be open, but instead I was barred from post-game interviews. So this article that you see on the slide here was in the San Francisco Chronicle in the fall of 2021. It was the 40th anniversary of a game-changing court ruling. I'll give you a quick summary. So when the 49ers refused to provide equal access, McClatchy News sued the team on my behalf. The 49ers were willing to go to court, and there they met Judge Marilyn Hall Patel. She was also stunned. This was an absolute violation of my civil rights. She issued emergency ruling ordering the 49ers to provide equal access. And that changed the standard forever. Women covering an NFL team now had the court ruling to stand on for equitable treatment. Yay, Judge Patel. Here's the insight, I think is helpful. Most news agencies covered the story that day with headlines about a female reporter entering the locker room. They did not have headlines about a woman's constitutional rights being violated. And with that framing, I suffered a journalistic nightmare. I became the news rather than covering it. I was bombarded with interview requests, public scorn, speculation about my intentions, and hate mail. I'm not even going to tell you some of the names that they called me. So I'm going to skip ahead so that we can kind of get a little bit, we'll go to slide 6. So despite these crazy incidents, I started seeing more and more women joining the field. Mostly in print news versus broadcast, and I began to think, well, what if we all banded together to fight these battles? That might make it easier for all of us. Yeah, if we're on slide 6, that would be really helpful. Okay, sorry. So from there, so I just thought it would make it easier for all of us if it wasn't just my squeaky voice, if we could band together. So that's how AWESOME was born. AWSM, the Association for Women in Sports Media. We started with about 80 members from across the country, and our first gathering was right here at a weekend convention in Oakland. Today, we're still standing together. AWESOME has grown, and we continue to advocate for opportunities and advancement for women in sports media. With one voice, we've gathered the support of many champions and allies. And one thing we did right away was establish written equal access policies for all the professional sports leagues. This meant that women could show up to work a game and just focus on their work. We changed the rules. Unfortunately, we didn't change all the attitudes, and the shenanigans continued. Okay, I'm gonna have to skip over some things here. So I'm not gonna be able to tell you about that time I went to an interview and a coach showed up wearing only a large fig leaf. And it can go on and on from there. So I'm going to skip ahead now. In 1990, I was the president of AWESOME, and a really terrible incident happened in New England, and if any of you remember that, but a woman there was just vilified, and AWESOME really did stand up for her and also made a lot of inroads with the NFL changes. So I'm going to skip to now 2013. So we're on slide 7. Got it? So this film was created in 2013 for the 40th anniversary of Title IX. ESPN created this series, and the series about women, the film about women in sports media was called Let Them Wear Towels. Myself and several other women tell the stories of what it was like to be in the front lines in those early days. I have to tell you that, at that time, going way back when I was living through this, I hated telling these stories because people at that time just didn't get it. They would listen and nod and then do the wink, wink, oh yeah, tell us what it's really like in the locker room. So I finally gave up, and then we get to 2013 with this film and we get to tell the stories, and some time has gone by and I finally got some validation. I'm going to read you a comment from someone who watched the film. Watching a story like this today almost makes the subject seem like science fiction. It's so hard to believe that there was a time when this stuff went on, especially when you consider that it wasn't that long ago. So I can continue to get that now really validating reaction today, which I'm grateful for. My dear daughter Casey tells me that women today stand on the shoulder pads of those women who were working in the 1980s, with our big shoulders. Today, AWESOME continues to open doors for women to enter the field. We do have some challenges remaining. We're still trying to get women into positions of greater power and influence. And sadly, in the world of social media, many women working in the field who are very easy to identify are being stalked and attacked for nothing more than doing their jobs. So this generation is working on that, working on solving and working on that problem, and I know it's in the right hands. Okay, so thank you. I went through that really quickly, but I think you have a sense of it. If you'd like to hear more about that film, Let Them Wear Towels, ESPN still does make it available, so you could go and watch it. It's not too long. It is very interesting, and you hear from women, in other sports who covered other sports. Now I'm happy to take some questions. I will stay around a little bit afterward if you need to. And if you can, I have a favor to ask of you as you ask questions. I'm in the process of writing a book, so if there's anything that stood out at you as really compelling or something you would like to hear about my story, add that note too. I would love to hear it. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, should you have a question, please queue up in front of the microphone.
Thank you, Michelle, for all of your work and, for your groundbreaking work. And I think your daughter was a speaker here a few years back. Is that true, Casey? Were you a speaker here a few years ago? Okay. So, anyways, we do have a question online from Stephanie Cosenza, and Stephanie writes, "It seems that most local TV stations still have men as their figurehead or anchor, or maybe it's just the Bay Area. Why is this still the case?"
Well, that would take a bit of a time to explain that. I think overall women are encouraged to get in the field, and the doors, are open, but there do remain, challenges to, like I mentioned, ascending to those higher positions of influence and power. And I don't know what, all the obstacles are on the news side, but they're probably similar in sports. That, sometimes, I'm just going to make a few assumptions here. Sometimes you get to a point in your career where if you're fighting the battle and it gets really hard, you might make a turn, and you might not stick with it, and you might go in another direction to do something else. So sometimes that happens, so you lose, some quality people. So that's one of the answers.
Thank you so much for being here. It's absolutely incredible. Having joined this club 35 years ago, where I was one of 3 or 4 women,
Yay.
and I was never treated poorly like the way you were. Is there a reason there's a lot more women in media, sports media? Is there a reason that the dress code is somewhat unconventional, like cocktail dresses? Is that something that they choose to wear, or something that their companies choose them to wear?
Let me see if I could rephrase that question for women appearing on screen in a lot of places, right? It's funny you mentioned that, because at the beginning of Awesome, we did work really hard to be treated as professionals, so we wanted, to come across that way. I always wore a pretty plain suit. I carried a big yellow notepad like this, as a shield. I could look right into someone's eyes. And you wanted to, give that impression, you were there to do your job. We tried to make a dress code, we can't, but we can make rules, but we can't dictate, how people behave, as you heard from, what I said. I do think, of course, it's heavily influenced, as you indicated. They're on television. The people that you're seeing most of the time, they're on television, and the women that you see, where are they? They're on the sidelines. So it's the sideline reporter, and they're selling their programs. So I'll leave it at that.
All right, well, not in the NBA, actually, so that's a good thing. There's
The NBA, they do dress a lot better, you're right.
And they also, there's a few that are now are more the lead or prominent, but your resilience is amazing. Even when you talk about this time in Tampa Bay, it makes me want to cry for you. I mean, I can't imagine how emotional that was, but my question is, what were the athletes' view towards you coming in? I mean, were they more accepting? Did they think you were one of them? Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's just another one of the reporters. They didn't care, because now athletes would have more say than they probably did then. But I'm wondering if that was ever, so you got a little boost from them, or the opposite.
That's a good question. there were so many things. I was being bombarded from so many different places. The saving grace oftentimes was the players. There was possibly, excuse me. It started in Tampa Bay because I don't know if you guys remember way back that team, but a lot of the players had recently played at USC because John McKay was the coach. So I knew some of them. At some point, they would go, that's just Michelle. They knew it was me. I had established some credibility and some presence there. So I had to continue to do that with other athletes, that I was around at all times to really emphasize, I'm here to do a job. This is what it's all about. Please respect me and I'll respect you. I will say that I did notice, it was hard not to notice, that the black athletes probably had the most compassion and looked out for me in the greatest way. And I've got to think that they knew because they had a feeling of, the mistreatment that I was feeling, that they had probably been there themselves. Okay, thank you.
Oops.
You're supposed to tape it down, Mary, so nobody walks out. That's one of the tips you get from the past president.
That's right.
Tape it down.
Take my script down. All right, good. All right, Michelle, that was a very interesting, trailblazing presentation and awesome. So education is my area of focus for this year. The Rotary Club of Oakland is proud to partner with Oakland Promise to offer 8 $10,000 scholarship annually along with mentorship. We are proud to support many as the first in their family to attend college. In recognition of your presentation today, Oakland Rotary will make a donation in your name to the Oakland Promise to support its kindergarten to college program for every child in our city. Thank you. Carla Betts, I understand you want to bring something to my attention.
Attention, Mary. Oakland Rotarians and Mary, President Mary, Noelle Dibdahl, sister of past President Gudrun Dibdahl, was able to tour the Oakland Zoo vet hospital with her team just a few weeks ago. Noelle is a veterinary pathologist and is the head of safety assessment for Genutech, and she also works with emergency response for animal rescue. She has made a donation to ORE honoring Michael Bruck for his good works in setting up her team at the Oakland Zoo. And I will ring the bell for Michael Bruck too, because he's just a fine guy.
Okay. Can you clarify, you want to ring a bell for Michael Bruck and Gruden? 2 bell ringers. For those who know, a bell ringer is a generous tax-deductible donation of $100 to our Oakland Rotary Endowment. I see Carrie Hamill.
I want to say, Michelle, thank you, and ring the bell in your honor.
Okay, ring a bell for Michelle Carrie Hamill.
I ring the bell for Michelle. You were amazing.
Trisha Connor for Michelle. Seth Butler for Michelle. Anybody? And Shannon? So is that 2 bell ringer? 1, okay. Rick Draper for speaker. Okay.
President Mary, I'd like to ring the bell for Garrett Rigg, a longtime friend and client. And he did a wonderful presentation for the Carl Stuckey World Community Service Committee. And I'd like to ring the bell for Michael Bruck, who also is a longtime client and friend. Thank you.
So it's 2, Keith Duran, 2 bell ringer, right? Okay, Tom?
Okay, I would like to ring the bell for Harold Lowe, for all that he does for youth in Oakland and his commitment to youth, especially in the Scouts, but also just he's involved in so many different things, Oakland Lacrosse and a number of other programs. But really for him to come back and get activated with the club and lead Enterprise Institute. So I know it's a huge undertaking and he's stretched very thin. So my hat's off to Harold. So
All right,
one
Tom
bell.
Lamone, ring the bell. Okay, thank you for all the bell ringers. All right, Trish Connor, would you go to the stand and tell us about next week's speaker?
Yes, thank you, Mary. Next week, we're going to have Michael Weiner. He's a climate specialist at Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory, and he's going to talk about extreme weather and its impact, especially from climate change and on California.
All right, thank you. Bob Barth, would you come up to the stage? Let's see who will get the Irish luck at the Rotary. As you came in,
We'll have our speaker.
you had a raffle ticket. Everybody has a raffle ticket? We will now do a drawing for 3 prizes. Michelle will pick the first one. You must be present to win. The number is 408444. Yes, isn't it? We'll give her the Irish whiskey. Yes. You will get Irish whiskey. All right. All right, the next, Michelle, let's do your honor again. Thank you. How about 408451? 408451?
It's me.
It's you, let's see. Yes.
It's Ray. We know it's Ray. Come on.
That is correct. You like this or you want that?
I got the
Oh, he wants the wine.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, one more try. David, we'll let David pull this time.
Well, let David.
Let's pay David. All right. 408461.
Oh.
Hey! You get a walk.
Walk and accessories.
Walk, so you get a Irish whiskey and Chinese walk. All right. Tom Lamone says that we do have some extra sandwiches that you're welcome to take home. All right. At this point, I just want to thank you, everyone who participated today, and I want to commend all the presenters today. You guys are great. You line up at the side of the podium and move us along. Now, I do want one housekeeping event. Rotarians and guests, please immediately remove your lunch trash and your personal belongings from the table so that the kind Rotarians who help us clear the room can do it quickly and easily, like your mama says. Please clear the table. So, share, which means thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.